You're listening to the Productive Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Kendrick, and I'm on a mission to help online business owners like you focus on the right things and take imperfect action. Every week, you'll get my best tips on everything from time management and content creation to planning effectively and managing mindset issues, all in an effort to help you become more productive. So let's jump into this episode. Hello, and welcome to the Productive Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm super excited that you've decided to tune in today. We've all had those times when we're juggling a bunch of different tasks, right? Client meetings, marketing strategies, content creation, social media, you name it. And we think we're doing great keeping all those balls in the air until one day they fall. You miss deadlines and maybe even lose some clients or miss opportunities for revenue, and your business takes a hit. That's a hard wake-up call. So in today's episode, we're diving deep into the art and science of prioritizing tasks and time management. This is especially crucial for those of us who are solopreneurs. When you're wearing all the hats in your business, every minute counts. And let's face it, we've all had those days where we feel like we're running on a hamster wheel, right? But here's the good news. With the right techniques, tools, and mindset, we can take control of our time and tasks and not just survive, but thrive. So if you're ready to get off that hamster wheel and start driving your business forward, let's dive in. So let's start at the beginning. What exactly are task prioritization and time management? What do these terms mean, and why should we care? Task prioritization is essentially the process of deciding the order in which you'll complete your tasks and which tasks you'll actually tackle. It's like being at a buffet table. You can't pile everything on your plate at once, right? You have to decide which foods you're going to take first, which you'll come back for later, and which you'll skip altogether. Similarly, as a small business owner, you have a million things to do and only so many hours in the day. So you need to decide which tasks are most important and tackle them first. That's task prioritization. Now, time management is the next step. It's about efficiently using your time to complete these prioritized tasks. It's like having a map for a road trip. Without a map or a GPS, you'd be driving aimlessly, wasting time and fuel. With a map, you know the best route to take, where to make stops, and when you'll reach your destination. We're all on a business journey, right? Well, time management is our map. It helps us use our time wisely, stay focused, and reach our goals faster. But why is this so important? Well, let's think about that road trip again. Imagine if you didn't prioritize your stops and you just drove around randomly. You'd waste time, you'd miss out on the best sights, and you'd probably end up frustrated and exhausted and stuck in rush hour traffic somewhere. The same goes for your business. Without prioritizing tasks and managing your time, you risk missing deadlines, disappointing clients, and burning yourself out. So some people wonder, is prioritizing a time management skill? Absolutely. In fact, it's a fundamental part of effective time management. Think of it as the foundation on which all other time management strategies are built. It's like deciding what to pack before you go on a trip. Once you've decided, you can then focus on how to fit everything into your suitcase. So, prioritizing tasks and time management are not just buzzwords. They're essential skills that can help us navigate our business journey more effectively. They're the difference between feeling overwhelmed and feeling in control, between working hard and working smart. Okay, let's get down to business. We've defined what task prioritization and time management are, but let's dive deeper into why these skills are so critical for running a successful solo business. So, why is prioritizing tasks important for time management? Well, think about it this way. You've got a list of tasks as long as a CVS receipt, all demanding your attention. If you try to tackle them without any order or plan, you'll end up running around like a chicken with its head cut off. Prioritizing tasks helps you focus and spend your valuable time on what truly matters. So let me share a personal story. A few years ago, when I started my online business, I was overwhelmed. My to-do list seemed endless. I was answering emails, trying to engage on numerous social media channels, creating content, managing finances all at once. I felt like I was drowning. Now, for many, many years, I've studied productivity techniques. So I pulled out one of the tools from my toolbox, something that I had used in previous lives, and I started categorizing my tasks based on urgency and importance. And it helped me weed out some of the low priority activities. And that helped me become more productive and less stressed. And my business began to thrive. And I'm not alone in this experience. Tammy, one of my students, is a graphic designer and a fellow solopreneur. Her business was doing well, but she was constantly juggling deadlines, clients, and creative projects. She was on the brink of burnout until she started using digital tools to help. Then she was able to better visualize her workload, prioritize her tasks, and manage her time efficiently. Today, her business is booming and she's also enjoying a more balanced lifestyle. So, how does prioritization affect time management? Well, there's a famous illustration. It's from one of the Stephen Covey books, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I'll drop a link to that book in the show notes. Your time is like a jar, and your tasks are like rocks and sand. We actually did this in a meeting once in my corporate days. We had a real jar and real rocks and real sand. And so, you could really see how it works. But the sand represents your least important tasks, and the rocks are important tasks. The bigger the rock, the more important it is. So if you fill up your jar with sand, the least important tasks, then there won't be any room for the rocks, the important tasks. But if you put the rocks in first, the sand can fill in the space around them. That's the power of prioritization. It helps you fit all your tasks into your day without overflowing your jar. And these skills play a crucial role in our business. When you're a one-person shop, you're wearing multiple hats: creator, marketer, accountant, customer service, you name it. Effective task prioritization and time management are the tools that help you juggle all those roles efficiently. They're the compass that guides you through the complex maze of responsibilities and helps you reach your goals without losing your sanity. Now let's look at the part goal planning plays in effective time management. So we've all been there with a mountain of tasks, a ticking clock, and no idea where to start. That's where goal planning comes into play. Going back to our road trip metaphor from earlier, your goals are your destination, and your tasks are the route that gets you there. So, how does goal planning help with time management? Well, to use another metaphor, imagine trying to build a house without a blueprint. It sounds chaotic, right? Nobody knows what to do. That's what it's like running a business without goal planning. You're just throwing bricks together, hoping it will somehow turn into a house. But with a clear plan, you know exactly what tasks need to be done and when, and that saves you time and stress. But here's the thing: just like a GPS needs to adapt to roadblocks or traffic, your goal planning needs to be flexible. In episode 2, I talked about the benefits of flexible planning and how to implement it, so I'll drop a link to that episode in the show notes. At its core, flexible planning is about being able to adapt and pivot when things don't go as planned. Maybe a project or task takes longer than expected, or an urgent issue pops up. That's okay. Don't fight against these changes and don't get discouraged. Instead, adjust your plan, reprioritize, and keep moving towards your goals. Now, I know this sounds like a lot, and if you want to dive deeper into goal planning, then check out my 90-day planning bootcamp. It's packed with step-by-step guidance and practical techniques to help you master these skills. I'll drop a link to the bootcamp in the show notes. At this point, I think we'd agree that we all have a lot on our plates, right? So let's talk about how to prioritize tasks effectively. First, let's look at a simple 4-step process for prioritizing: identifying urgent tasks, mapping tasks to goals, deciding on actions, and assigning responsibilities. So let's break that down. Step 1, identify urgent tasks. These are the fires that need immediate attention. They're like that annoying alarm clock that won't stop buzzing until you turn it off. So start by making a list of all of your tasks and identifying which ones are urgent. Is there a deadline looming? Is a client waiting for you? Is there a problem that needs to be solved immediately? Those are your urgent tasks. Step 2, map tasks to goals. Remember, your goals are your destination. That's where you want your business to be in the future. So look at your list and ask yourself, what tasks will help me reach my goals? What activities will drive my business forward? These are your important tasks, by the way. Step 3, decide on actions. Once you've identified your urgent and important tasks, it's time to decide on actions. This is where you get specific. Instead of work on marketing, your action could be write a blog post that builds awareness for next week's launch. See how specific that is? By breaking complex projects into manageable actions, you make them less intimidating and more achievable. Step 4, assign responsibilities. Now, I know we're solopreneurs, but that doesn't mean we can't delegate. Maybe you have a virtual assistant or a supportive partner, or even automated tools. Assign some of your tasks to these resources. This will lighten your load and also allow you to focus on the tasks that require your unique skills and expertise. So that's one prioritization method, but there are others that you might want to try. One that you may have heard of is the Eisenhower matrix. This method, named after President Dwight D. Eisenhower, is as simple as it is powerful. Picture a square divided into 4 boxes. On one axis, you have urgency, and on the other, importance. This creates 4 quadrants: urgent and important, important but not urgent but not important, and neither urgent nor important. Your urgent and important tasks are your immediate focus. These are the fires you need to put out now. The important but not urgent tasks, those are your strategic actions. They're not pressing, but they contribute to your long-term goals. Urgent but not important tasks can often be delegated or at least automated. And those tasks that are neither urgent nor important, they're usually distractions that you can eliminate, so kick them to the curb. This matrix can help you make sure that you spend your valuable time on tasks that drive your business forward. Another technique that I really like is the Ivy Lee method. Now, you may wonder, who was Ivy Lee? He was a productivity consultant back in the 1900s, and his method is so timeless that it's still just as effective today. So what's the Ivy Lee method all about? It's super simple. At the end of each day, you write down the 6 most important tasks you need to accomplish the following day. Just 6, not 7, not 10, or any other number. Why 6? Well, because it's manageable. It's a number that feels doable, not overwhelming. Once you have your list of 6, you prioritize them in order of importance. What's going to bring you closer to your goal? What has the tightest deadline? Those tasks go at the top of your list. The next day, you start with task number 1. You don't move on to task number 2 until the first one is completely finished. No multitasking, no distractions. You give each task your undivided attention. And if you don't finish all 6 tasks by the end of the day, no problem. You just move the unfinished activities to the next day's list. What makes the Ivy Lee method so powerful is its focus on single tasking and prioritization. In our fast-paced multitasking world, it's a reminder that less is more. By focusing on one task at a time, we can improve our efficiency, reduce stress, and achieve higher levels of productivity. I used to use the Ivy Lee method regularly, like daily, and I still fall back on it when I'm feeling overwhelmed and I just have too many things on my plate. I make that 6 most important list and I start working through it methodically. Remember, at the end of the day, prioritizing tasks is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. It's about focusing on the activities that bring you closer to your goals and letting go of the rest. So, we've talked about different methods of prioritization. Now, let's look at some popular time management techniques. First up is my favorite, and that's time blocking. If you've never heard of it before, think of it like this. Imagine your day as a blank canvas, and each task you need to do is a different colored block. Your goal is to fit those blocks into your day in the most efficient way possible. You might have a block for content creation, another for client calls, maybe one for strategy planning, and so on. My time block schedule today has podcast on it right now. The beauty of time blocking is that it allows you to focus on one thing at a time. It also enables you to figure out how much time you really have for work and how long you spend on various activities. When you see it all laid out on your calendar, you'll realize that you have to drop things that are lower priority because you simply don't have room for them in your day. I have a course that teaches you exactly how to implement time blocking, and I'll drop a link to that in the show notes. Another technique that I love is the Pomodoro method. This technique involves working in 25-minute increments, also known as Pomodoros, with 5-minute breaks in between. Then, after 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break, that's usually 15 to 30 minutes. This technique is excellent for maintaining focus and avoiding burnout because regular breaks are built into your schedule. I actually do 45-minute chunks of work followed by 15-minute breaks. So don't feel like you have to stick with the standard 25 minutes. You can customize the method to suit you. Just make sure that you have a set amount of work time followed by a break. The breaks are super important. Now let's tackle a challenge we all face: allocating time for complex tasks and daily tasks. Complex tasks are those big, impactful projects that require deep focus and strategic thinking. Daily tasks, on the other hand, are the routine activities we need to handle regularly, like answering emails or making phone calls. The trick here is to understand your productivity rhythms. Are you a morning person who hits your peak productivity when the sun comes up? That one is so not me. I can barely think until I'm on my third cup of coffee. Or maybe you're a night owl who picks up steam in the evening. Once you know when you're most productive, schedule your complex tasks for those times and use your less productive times for your daily tasks. And what about distractions? You're in the middle of a task and suddenly your phone dings or an email notification pops up. Distractions are the enemy of productivity, but there are ways to handle them. One method is to designate specific times for checking emails and dealing with messages. Maybe you check your inbox first thing in the morning, after lunch, and at the end of the day. And if 3 times a day stresses you out, if that doesn't work for you, then try just checking once an hour. Outside of those designated times, close your email and put your phone on silent. Remember, every distraction is a potential block of time lost from your valuable working hours. Okay, let's finish this off with some tools for time management. They really can help us make our days more organized, efficient, and stress-free. First up, digital calendars. I know, it's not exactly groundbreaking news, but hear me out. A digital calendar like Google Calendar or Apple Calendar is like your personal assistant, reminding you of meetings, deadlines, and important tasks. It's a simple tool, but oh so powerful when used effectively. And here's a pro tip: color code your events by category for an at-a-glance view of your day. Next, project management software. Tools like Asana, Trello, or ClickUp are like secret weapons for managing your to-do list, setting deadlines, tracking progress, and managing all the details of your projects. I tried a lot of different project management tools before I settled on Asana. I was drowning in sticky notes, scribbled lists, and a way too complicated app. I kept hearing about Asana, And one day I tried it and I haven't looked back. And that's been 6 years ago. So if you aren't using an app, I definitely recommend trying one out. And who could forget timers? Whether it's a classic kitchen timer or the built-in timer on your phone, timers can be incredibly effective for maintaining focus and productivity. Remember the Pomodoro technique we talked about earlier? It's built on the concept of using timers. Another one of my favorite tools is time tracking software like Toggle. It helps you keep track of how much time you're spending on each task down to the minute. You can start a timer when you begin a task, pause if you get interrupted, start it again, and then stop when you're finished. In fact, I'm using Toggle right now to track how long it takes to record this podcast. When I first started using Toggle many, many years ago, I thought I was pretty good at estimating how long tasks took me, but boy was I wrong. Toggle showed me just how much time I was sinking into seemingly quick activities, and it was a real eye-opener. It helped me reassess my priorities, tweak my schedule, and make better use of my time. So if you've ever found yourself wondering where all your time went, or why some activities just seem to take forever, give time tracking software a try. It might just give you some surprising insights into your work habits and help you become more productive. And finally, even though we've mostly talked about digital tools, let's not forget about good old pen and paper. Sometimes the simplest tools are the best. Whether it's a bullet journal, planner, or a plain notebook, writing down your tasks and priorities can provide a tangible, satisfying way to manage your time. I still love the feeling of physically crossing a task off my list. It's a small victory, but hey, every victory counts. Okay, friends, we've covered a lot of ground today, so let's take a moment to recap. We started by discussing the importance of prioritizing tasks and time management for us as online business owners. Remember, time is our most valuable resource. It's imperative that we use it wisely. We talked about various methods for prioritizing tasks, like the Eisenhower matrix and the Ivy Lee method. These techniques help us identify our most critical tasks, as well as the tasks we can delegate or even drop altogether. And trust me, there's no better feeling than knowing exactly what you need to focus on to achieve your business goals. We also explored a few powerful tools to aid our time management efforts. Digital calendars, project management software, time tracking apps, and even pen and paper. These are all valuable allies in our quest for productivity. The key takeaway here is that prioritizing tasks and managing time effectively isn't just a one-time thing. It's an ongoing process, a cycle that we repeat daily. It's about constantly reassessing our priorities, tweaking our methods, and finding the tools that work best for us. So I encourage you to try out some of the things we've talked about today. Experiment with different methods, find your preferred tools, and don't be afraid to make changes if something isn't working. The goal isn't to become a prioritization master overnight. It's about making small, consistent improvements that will eventually lead to big results. As Mark Twain once said, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. So let's get started. Thanks so much for listening to the Productive Entrepreneur podcast. Head on over to tanyakendrick.com/6 to view the show notes. You'll find links to all the resources mentioned, and if you enjoyed this episode, it would mean so much to me if you'd take a moment to leave a rating and review. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe so that you can listen as soon as the next episode is released. Have a great day! And before you go, if you like what you hear on the Productive Entrepreneur podcast, then come check out the Organized Business Toolbox. It's my monthly membership for solo entrepreneurs who want to feel in control and take imperfect action to move their businesses forward. When you join, you'll get instant access to the Training and Resource Vault, and a new toolbox or course drops every month. Plus, we have monthly Voxer office hours where you can privately ask me questions and get my direct feedback. If that sounds like something you need, the link is in the show notes, or visit TanyaKendrick.com, and I'll see you on the inside.